be a professional at everything. If you want something, you need to look the part, you need to act the part, you need to perform the part, down to the fine details. And welcome to another episode of Reno's Rants here on the Roughnecks Podcast. Make sure to stay up to date with everything we got going on by signing up for the newsletter that is on roughneckspodcast.com. Sign up for that, stay up to date, and hey, while you're there, go ahead and support us. Grab some merch while it's there. We got a lot of cool stuff, from t-shirts to mugs to flags to pretty much anything that you can think of. And I tell you what, use promo code Reno and get yourself 10% off. All right, let's dive into today's rant. And welcome to yet another episode of Reno's Rants on the Roughnecks Podcast. On today's episode, I am going to talk about being a professional. Okay, be a professional, whatever that is, from the small details of what you're doing to what you're wearing too, and understanding that what you want to do in life, you have to make sure that you are acting the part, that you look the part, that you be the part. Now, I'll give you an example. If I am looking for a dentist, right, a dentist, and I go to one, I see all their degrees, I see their tenure and all kinds of stuff, and I go in there, I meet them, and they got yellow teeth. Guess what? They just lost all credibility with me. Not a chance am I going to that dentist. They might be the nicest person in the world, but just because their profession, that tells me that they don't take their profession seriously. This is my opinion. Also, like, if you are a nutritionist and I go for you for nutrition advice and you are overweight, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to take your advice. Straight up. Like, I know that kind of sounds morbid, that kind of sounds mean. And I'm not a judgmental person. I'm really not. But I'm not saying I don't, you could do whatever you want with your life. That's totally cool. But you just lost a ton of credibility with me. A ton of credibility with me. Or if I'm giving somebody an interview for a higher end job or for a management job, and they come in and their shirt's untucked, or their tie's a little crooked, or their hair's a little messed up. Your resume might be awesome. You might have an awesome interview. But, dude, you're not looking the part. You're not looking the part. That tells me you're not taking this seriously. Like, take it seriously at everything you do. And it's not just for that one moment. It's for, you have to be a professional at everything. If you want something, you need to look the part. You need to act the part. You need to perform the part. Down to the fine details. Down to the fine details. One thing that I really appreciate as someone who, hires people and gives interviews is a simple follow-up email after the interview. Once you do the interview, it's not just over and you wait. After the interview, hey, send them a follow-up. Hey, thank you. Thank you for your time. As discussed in the interview, like, bring up some things that were discussed in the interview. That tells me that you were engaged, you were listening, and you weren't just there trying to, tell me what I wanted to hear, right? Small things can go such a long way. Those fine details, that's, like I said in the last rant, that's the separator. The fine things, because you might have the same two people, whether that's applying for the job or wanting the same position, they're fighting for a starting job. It might be the exact same person. They might have the exact same metrics. They might have the exact same, numbers. They might be strong. Like, they're both this. They can lift the same amount. And what's the separator? It could be the fine details. Hey, they sent me a follow-up email, or hey, they looked professional when they were in here, or hey, they stayed a little bit extra after practice, or hey, they asked a couple additional questions, or they made eye contact with me while they were talking with me, or wow, they gave me a firm handshake instead of those limp fish handshakes that doesn't make any damn sense to me. Give someone a fucking handshake, will you? It's not that hard. That's being a professional. That's holding yourself to a standard. That is how you make things go. And depending on what you do, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. A lot of people talk the talk, but they can't walk it, man. Like you have to be able to walk it. You have to look it as well. You have to look it. And I hate to jump into like judgmental things and like we're judging people on first looks and all that kind of stuff. But if you want the reality, like, yeah, first impression is big. First impression is big on whatever it is. To when you're getting recruited for college, that first impression is real important. Is real important. When you're going through an interview, that first impression is really important. Okay, how do you make me feel the second I see you? The second I see you. And then if you're wanting like a promotion, how do you make me feel all the time? Are you always a professional? Do you have moments? Do you not have moments? Like there's just such a big difference between people who you could tell want it and people who you could tell are faking it. Or there's an opportunity and then just all of a sudden they come to life. Like where were you? Where were you? Where were you this whole time? Just because now there's an opening, you're gonna work harder? It's like, no, you should have been working harder. Like that's a professional to me. That's the person I want. I want the person who's consistent at this. I'm not the person who's faking their way through it and just trying to show off just at the last minute. That's bullshit. Like that's I definitely don't want you. And it's easy to tell. It's easy to weed people out. Don't try to trick people. Don't try to trick people. I always say, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. I've been there. People have been there. They understand how this game works. Don't try to be sly. Like we get it. We get it. We see it. It's not hard. Hold yourself to a standard. Look nice, dress nice, tuck your shirt in if you will, wear a collar if you need to, brush your damn teeth. Don't be a dentist with yellow teeth. Like just kind of common sense stuff a little bit. But also it's really, really important. It's really, really important, and it gets overlooked sometimes. It gets overlooked how the small details, can really impact what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do. It can really impact your credibility to others. And it can really impact, your view on people. Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, if the cover of the book looks like shit, I'm probably not going to read it. But, so that's all I wanted to say. Hold yourself to a standard. Be a professional. And always be looking to gain credibility. You never know when someone's going to be looking at you. You never know when an opportunity is going to come up. So always work hard thinking that that opportunity is going to finally arise. And when it does, you're going to be ready. Instead of an opportunity just somehow comes up and, now you decide to work hard. It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how it should work. Separate yourself from others. Do things the way that you should. It's pretty simple. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Do what's right. Straight up. Do what's right. All right. That's all I got. I will talk to you guys on the next episode. Lots of exciting things coming with the Roughnecks podcast. Stay tuned. Thank you as always for all your guys' support. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I know you'll probably get the ending part of this that we pre-record, but for real, if you have questions, if you have ideas that you want us to talk about, if you want to potentially be on the Roughnecks podcast, if you want Cole to interview you and I don't know if interview is the right word. If you want to sit down and chat with Cole, be a possible guest on the episode, reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever social media platform, or you can just email us too. All the details will be below because Cole is just sick at editing. All right, enough of me. I'm out. Hey, thanks for tuning into today's episode of Reno's Rants here on the Roughnecks podcast. Make sure to share, follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. And if you have topics that you want us to cover, make sure to get those to us. You can either email us at roughneckspodcast@gmail.com, or you can just simply message us on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever you feel like doing. We will be sure to cover that. Really appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. Until next time.